This video is sponsored by Knuckles OX and Crimson Manifesto. Before we begin, you know the drill, be sure to like the vid, comment your thoughts, and share with a friend, and I definitely hope you enjoyed this little one-shot. So, our timeline from the beginning of Dragon Ball in age 737 through the end of Super's turn into power around 775 remains the same up until the events of Goku and Vegeta's desperate fusion into Gogeta. We're here after leaving Broly to pummel Frieza instead of the two of them. Neither Saiyan are in too much of a rush to go back, taking the time to fully elaborate on Broly's strange power to Piccolo. But with this extra info in this timeline, can't help but wonder if Broly suffers from the same all-consuming rage as little Gohan back in the day. This causing Goku to add that he hadn't gotten any evil vibes off the Savage Saiyan, while Vegeta offers that his transformation was also one onset by the death of his father, and considering how old and weak the geezer was, he seemed to be fairly soft-hearted and respectful for a pure Saiyan like the two of them. In light of this, Piccolo and his coaching to the end of fusion is sure to stress the group's shared curiosity towards this Broly, thus reining in the excitable Gogeta. And so it is that when Gogeta and Broly finally clash, the fusion keeps a strict policy of wanting to save the seemingly innocent Saiyan, in the end causing Broly to instead be incapacitated and knocked unconscious before the battle can drag out any further when it becomes clear that he is outmatched by the godly might of Super Saiyan Blue. As a result, Chi-Lai and Limo hesitate on their plan to double-cross Frieza, getting the vibe that these Earthling guys like them want to help Broly. However, as a recovered Frieza lowers himself to the ground, noting the opportunity to retrieve his new almighty pawn, he has renewed vigor that sees him more than willing to make a gamble by attempting to paralyze Gogeta and retrieve the downed Broly, only for the paralyzing psionic energy to phase through the fused fighters after him, as the real deal from above prepares to slam a big blue ki blast into his head. However, just before this is possible, Gogeta's time limit is ended, as a result of expending extra energy to hold back on Broly, while also trying not to wipe the Earth off the universal map. The exhausted Saiyans that make up the fusion being easily blasted away by a pair of vibe beams from Golden Frieza, seeing them driven into the ground hard enough to make a divot. However, Piccolo's foresight and wisdom as always comes in clutch, as just as this takes place, Earth's third mightiest Saiyan and Gohan, with fresh memories of the true scum Frieza is, arrives on the scene with no intentions of holding anything back, being thankful he can unleash his potential as it allows him to quickly match Frieza's remaining power. Though between the Emperor's exhaustion and poor technique, it quickly turns into a case of Gohan getting it back in blood for the humiliation he suffered when Frieza was first revived, seeing the lizard finally calling into the battle and make his escape alone, vowing to return all the same and take back his position as master and strongest in the universe. Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta all initially panic, even with the win of having successfully rescued Broly. As still in possession of Earth's Dragon Balls, Frieza very well may carry out his plan. However, as soon as Frieza and his fleet depart, a small scout ship returns, on board stepping off Chi-Lai and Limo as Broly's allies, while also comes out Piccolo, solely bragging that he got in telepathic contact with these two and they resolved to save Broly and connected their wills to his own, thus allowing them to steal the Dragon Balls right back off from under Frieza's nose. Next, Broly reawakens and freaks out a bit, but is calmed by Chi-Lai and Limo. Piccolo then reveals his plan to take Broly on as his student with Gohan's help, using their experience in taming his rage to help the Savage do the same. Goku and Vegeta give some light protest to this, as according to Frieza, this would only paint a target on Earth's back. However, Piccolo points out that would be the case for any planet they send Broly back to, even his home, their only safe option probably being that of Lord Beerus, which he doubted the Destroyer would tolerate. Whis agrees with this, recognizing that Vegeta and Goku are mostly protesting out of a desire to train with the brutish Saiyan themselves, and stating his interest in the progress the Namekian can make after citing such a feat with son Gohan here, though he mentions it will likely force him to break his own limits in the process to be a good role model. With these accommodations made, Piccolo offers to host Broly and his gang in his newly created house in the wilderness near Gohan and Vidal's place, citing it is just far enough away from civilization to create a tranquil environment for Broly, while still being close enough to not leave the non-fighters with nothing to do. This being said, he also wants Vegeta and Goku to give their new guest some space, not wanting him to go on another rampage just because one of the other Saiyans got a bit too hot-blooded, citing that if they give him enough time, one day Broly might be able to spar with him with complete control. And so, time passes, as over a handful of months, Broly, Chi-Lai, and Limo all find separate ways of tenderly integrating with life on Earth, as the former two find themselves exploring what Earth has to offer, when not helping out Bulma by acting as some of that additional security for her lab along with the Pilaf gang as Vegeta had been wanting. Broly, for his part, for the first time in his life, stops being taught to train and gain strength only for the use of combat, as Piccolo quickly forms a fast bond with the once savage Saiyan, his desire to help being felt and accepted as genuine, thus leading to Broly's becoming receptive to the concepts of mindfulness and self-discipline meant to help him reclaim control over his strength. That way, he can never find himself helpless at the wits of others again. In turn, seeing his speech and socialization skills vastly improve as he utilizes both far more often around these brainiac warriors. Gohan does his best to make time to help out Piccolo, though between caring for Pan with Videl and his studies, he quickly begins to burn the candle on both ends as well as a bit in the middle, and thus with his exhaustion comes a hint of crankiness. As one day when Piccolo, as the stern old teacher that he is, lectures his first student in front of Broly as the trio attempt to meditate and image train together, he accidentally ends up helping Gohan tap into his old rage boost, as the young scholar inadvertently snaps at Piccolo that he knows, forming an unnecessary ki that blows both Piccolo and Broly back. Piccolo quickly recovers, witnessing Gohan's potential unleashed form yet again, and in response, Broly almost by instinct seems to grow irritated, as his hair stands on end as well. However, he would surprisingly calm himself, seeing Gohan suddenly look remorseful as he takes a deep breath and powers down, quickly apologizing to Piccolo and Broly, and more productively expressing his feelings on the conundrum he's found himself in. For his part, Piccolo appreciates his forthcoming approach to his students' issues, in turn apologizing himself, as it just now dawns on him that the time he has taken into helping Broly and training himself has probably robbed Videl and Gohan of a vital extra set of hands for Pan, offering that Gohan perhaps begin bringing Pan along to some of their training sessions, or even camp out and do some of his studying here. This, the young Saiyan finds is a great idea, having long wanted a better excuse to begin researching Broly's unique form of Super Saiyan and his connection to the Saiyan fighter of Universe 6, Kale, who very obviously had a similar mutation as it were, his mind having been abuzz with thoughts of how she so quickly both discovered and tamed that savage energy, and why Broly seemed to have so much trouble doing the same, this at its core being the mystery that really inspired him to want to help Broly. And so, the scholar begins an independent Saiyan study, knowing even if his kinsmen don't appreciate the academic pursuit of strength, it would nonetheless be beneficial for everyone to gain such knowledge. And sweetly, this also leads to Broly meeting and befriending Pan, as slowly but surely a breakthrough is made, as Piccolo deems Broly able to control himself much better, even when channeling far more of that destructive ki of his. And this is just in time as well, as instead of being able to finally pit the Saiyan against the likes of Vegeta, Goku, or Gohan, Piccolo's training group are quickly informed that the other two Saiyans have been wrapped up in a conflict with another universal big bad by the name of Moro, with the majority of the arc remaining the same except where it comes to the events involving Gohan and Piccolo, as they step up as Earth's second string mightiest defenders, though here with Broly, that's not necessarily true. Through their X-training and the addition of Broly and his gang also being along for the ride with Bulma, 7-3's crew actually end up fairly easily repelled the first time they show up, as I would confidently wager that Piccolo and Gohan are present and strong enough to deal with Shimareka and Yampa on their own. As even if 7-3 could grasp Broly's neck to copy his abilities, without the raw, ever-growing rage that makes them so potent, it wouldn't be all that effective. And I could really only see the result of slamming Broly with his own attacks, pissing him off more so he gets stronger faster and ends up destroying you. So if anything, the most major change would likely already be seen in the arc here, as Moro now would never get the opportunity to absorb 7-3. However, considering he would get to absorb energy from the likes of this much stronger Gohan, Piccolo, and Broly, the deficit would more than be filled. Seeing this arc end mostly as it did in canon, as Broly is officially welcomed as a Z fighter, with Piccolo for the most part graduating him, as now their last order of business is just completely mastering his full power Super Saiyan form. That way, they may begin going beyond it. A prospect that intrigues and slightly unsettles everyone. It is in this setting that our Granolah saga starts off much differently, even with 7-3 destroyed completely, where here, Broly actually ends up tagging along for the ride with Goku, Vegeta, Maki, and Oil, being introduced to the likes of Granolah as another surviving Saiyan after his wish of strength to get revenge. The various battles with the Cerulean continuing as they did in canon, except with a slightly stronger Vegeta and Goku. Except here, when Vegeta would have made his very strange mode of accepting death, Broly actually steps in, deeming now suitable to take his turn and protect his friends. And here, even if it does seem a tad wanky, I think Broly would be able to take the win as well. Not only has he received training from more eloquent and self-controlled teachers than his canon counterpart has by this point, but also Granolah's wish was shown to have some pretty solid limitations, whereas Broly's anger and potential seem almost limitless, making it stand to reason he would adapt over time, thus allowing him to simply outpower Granolah in the end, just before the real fun would begin and the threat of gas being wished to be much more powerful than these four warriors combined. Though in the end, I believe the exact same thing would happen, as Gas's berserker power is not only less impressive than Broly's, but I also think a battle with him seeing how easily Gas overcomes his savagery to obtain new power would be just the catalyst Broly might need in order to do the same, taking heed from Piccolo and Gohan's teachings as well as his desire to defend his friends, as Goku and Vegeta do, and so allowing him to obtain mastered full power Super Saiyan for the first time, leading the charge and land the most necessary and critical blows so that Goku, Vegeta, and Granolah can all help him obliterate Gas. This, however, is when Frieza arrives, dispatching a distraught Elec and seeing all three of his favorite Saiyans in one place, making it clear he meant what he said last time, easily overpowering all three along with Granolah in his new black form. But, retaining some of their energy from the 4v1 rather than the 3v1, the four fighters now turn their sights to Frieza, aided by Monito's healing to muster one last attempt at defeating the tyrant. even though this simply ends in another failure. However, instead of leaving empty-handed with only a few kitchen hands, Frieza intends to take Broly back with him, the brutish Saiyan surprisingly deciding to comply in order to protect Goku and Vegeta, and everyone on Earth, thus upping the stakes of the training we see everyone going into in the prelude before the events of Superhero, as the Broly retrieval arc as it were is what they all have their focus on right now. To this end, I think everyone would turn their training up to 11, with Gohan not needing his daughter or best friend to be threatened in order to keep on top of himself, since he too is motivated to get his friend Broly back, while Piccolo practically joins Gohan in having a power awakened form through a wish on Shenron, a consolation prize made after the dragon proves unable to snag Broly back from Frieza. So as the events of the superhero movie happen, Gohan and Piccolo are more than ready for Gammas 1 and 2, and subsequently Cell Max, resulting in both androids surviving the conflict and becoming mighty intrigued by the prospect of fighting a true villain in the likes of Frieza. As now, everyone turns their sights back to space, with Chi-Lai and Limo courageously leading the mission to save Broly. This is where we'll be leaving this story off for right now. I really hope you all enjoyed this little one-shot, or at least that's what it's going to be for right now. Again, at the time of recording, we're still slogging through the retelling of Superhero in the manga, so it's hard to write beyond this point at the moment. Plus, a story whose central change takes place extremely late in the timeline is what I was trying to work towards here, because I'm actually trying to get this video out to go in tandem with my 2023 update video part 2. So be sure you go give it a little check out when you get done with this video here. I'm really aware that some of the changes you saw in such a short span of time can feel a bit more forced because of how I did this story. Like for instance, you'll notice that Broly and his crew just kind of go along with everything that Piccolo and Gohan end up saying for them, or Gohan just kind of seems, weirdly interested in helping out Broly when he could be kind of getting work done. So there are some little small plot beats that maybe could be expanded on more when we kind of get some more from these characters in certain ways. So some of these interactions we haven't actually gotten to see in canon, so it's kind of hard to write from a non-canon perspective. In the end though, I think for something that's starting so late in the timeline, it works enough to tell a really short and concise, fun story that gives us some really fun alternate routes to how Broly could have been integrated into the gang, rather than just disappearing for a really long time and then being plopped back onto Beerus' planet and randomly relevant again. I also just had a lot of fun because it was a time to kind of explore Piccolo and Gohan's backstory and how they met and the kind of expertise that they have, and I think they actually probably could help out Broly a lot more than say Goku and Vegeta could. So maybe we pick this one back up and expand on it when the story further develops, or we can leave the story here. Up to you guys. I really don't have any true preference. I just had a lot of fun. And it was relatively easy for me to make this one, which is also a nice way to get it out here. So as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off the video the best way we know how by thanking the sponsors of the channel, who are my patrons and channel members. So shoutouts to Dominique, Pizza15X, Aaron Winters, Normandy 1998, Shao Pai, Coder SV3, Ronan Charizard, Daniel Smith, Drax, Dylan Wolfdog 31, Infernate Beast 326, Jay Ray, Johnny, Narku, Omar Cousins, Snow Slash Memes and more. Stephen Norton, Terran the Shadows, Vegeta What If, Alamancer, Blood Down, Lyman Rogers, Omar Muhammad, Aiko, Tay, Inebriated, John Sullivan, Trent Rouse, Dark Shadows, Pokemon Trainer Cam, Riverjoy, Elijah Edwards, Mr. Hamtastic, Jesus is King, Half an Onion, Angel Gonzalez, David Spalding, Lil T910, Flyer B, Joseph Lau, Blaze 9526, Trainer Rad 164, Luca Reynolds, Baron Stormblade, Panda Walk 301, Ono, Chris Macrano, Lily, Simroth, and Red Violet. As always, your direct support of the channel means a ton and enables me to do stuff like commission artists, actors, or editors to speed up and improve video production and quality, and you can join their ranks and support me for free by making sure you're always leaving likes and comments, as well as being sure to share the content with people you know who might like it. For now though, be sure to take care of yourselves and the world around you, and as always, go beyond plus ultra, and I'll see you guys next time.